Welcome to the Fine Print, ladies and gentlemen. We got a doozy for you today. I'm here with Kelli Story from Green Queen Candies in Glover. Kelli, so great to finally have you here. How are you today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's been a long time coming. I feel like you were one of the first people I really started chatting with, and I've been itching to get you on. I just wanted to extend my condolences. I know you're going through some tough times right now, and what you just sent me was slightly concerning, and I hope that everyone's okay over there.
Yeah, we're doing good. And I haven't really I sent it to a few people, and Chris is gonna share his own thing when he's ready, which will probably be today and stuff. But thank goodness I have the knowledge that I have, and we have the team that we have, because he's taken care of right now. So
Good.
but yeah,
Good.
everything's kind of paused for a second for us while we just focus on my husband's needs for a minute.
Yeah, well, sometimes you got to stop to just handle what's important,
Yeah.
Well, Kelli, I'm sure you've watched at least one of these by now. Will you start us off with a 5-minute life story, or maybe 10?
Oh,
I feel like you could probably do 10.
Oh man. Wow. I'm not gonna do a full life.
No, you don't hit the highlights.
That would be too crazy. My life is insane. In 2015, I was abandoned with my 3 kids by my ex-husband. We were together for 12 years, and the kids were, hi. Hey. I'm in an interview, just FYI. Very good. People coming in to hang out with Chris. That's all right. Anyway, so he took what we had to Hawaii and just kind of disappeared, and we lost our home like immediately. And I had never really done much work, but like VNA, and like I did some after school and some like substitute teaching. Like I feel like the typical like stay at home mom type of work, because that's what I did. I was just a caregiver. Anyway, so he abandons us. I start looking for work, and then we lose our house, and then they start taking my cars. The bank was chill. They saw what happened. They financed me a car. I didn't have a job or anything, but they saw it. So I at least had a car. So then we lived out of my car for a while. We were homeless for a while. We stayed at people's houses for a while. It sucked, but it builds character. I became a DJ because, well, what were my options for fast cash? I started selling certain goods that also are very beneficial to me as a person that I also couldn't afford as a single parent. Like cannabis, gonna be honest about it. Because the reality is, single mom, abandoned, homeless, and even with working like 60 hours a week, like when you're homeless, man, like it's expensive. So long story short, DJing led me to my edible making. For my own like personal medical issues and stuff. I couldn't always leave gigs to go like smoke a bowl or whatever. So that's how all that started. And
really, you started making edibles so that you could sneak a piece while you were DJing.
Yes.
Okay.
Did you not know that about me?
I did not. I must have missed that detail.
I thought I told you that. Well, it wasn't a big deal at the start because it was just like dive bars, and I'm only getting paid in the beginning like $50 to be there with my laptop and cheap set of speakers,
Yeah, right.
So whatever. But then when people started asking me to do like weddings and stuff, and I started getting like, first it was like $300 and $500 and like $800. I was like $1,500. Okay, I can feed my fucking kids on this.
Yeah, right.
Oh, sorry, man. I have such a bad mouth.
That's okay. We can swear here, Kelli. This is a safe space.
Oh, sweet. That makes me happy. Okay. Well, I'll still try not to, because like I do try to conduct myself like as if I have a filter sometimes.
I don't give a shit.
So yeah, I mean, and then, the DJing led me to my husband, Chris, and, he's amazing. Well, we fell in love and had the most adorable little fairy tale story, and his last name is Story. So I mean, like, even though when I first met him, it was like 7 months of back and forth with me telling him, I told him I was a lesbian. I told him it smelled like dirty dick. I was pretty awful to him, but I also saw his behavior in the bars, and I was just like, fuck boy. Like that's fuck boy. I ended up calling him up for a bouncer gig because he was like 130 pounds or something and seemed super like harmless and neutral. And he obviously liked me. Ended up going back to his place because it was way closer than my 2-hour away apartment. And well, I just didn't leave. Eventually, me and my 3 kids ended up moving in with him. And the DJing thing, like he had such a great personality where I could kind of be abrasive. I can kind of be a bitch sometimes. I don't mean to be, it's just I don't do bullshit. Like I don't do small talk well either. Like it's awkward for me. So he does all those things really well. So he got to be like my filter for people. And then together we were really successful with entertaining. Unfortunately, he's an alcoholic, and that entertainment life really brought the addiction out. And when COVID shut us down, and I think it was St. Patrick's Day, actually, was when I got the phone call. It was, we were getting ready to go work a St. Patrick's Day gig, and it was like, I wasn't ready for that to be our last gig, but it was. And from there, you know, he wanted to get sober. That was, he wanted to get help. And because there was some public stuff that kind of had happened, being that we were entertainers, and like on more than one occasion, you know, he just drank way too much. So people kind of saw us publicly getting sucked into addiction. So now they've also publicly been able to watch us walk out of it. And it took a lot. Like it took selling our house in Chittenden County, buying property out here in the Northeast Kingdom away from like a lot of bars.
Is that why you moved up there?
Well, okay, the real story why we picked Greensboro is because the day we came out here, he was trying to work up the nerve to tell me he wanted help to find a rehab. And our GPSs died in Greensboro. And it was just the prettiest place ever. So like, we just decided we wanted to buy a house in that town. And we just like found the perfect house out there. So, I mean, it worked perfectly. With the pandemic, we were able to sell our Chittenden County house that only had 1 acre for 10,000 more than, or no, yeah, we sold it for 10,000 more than what we bought our 14-acre farm in Greensboro for. And it was just, it's like in general, just the upgrade. The kids love it. We love it. I have 3 kids. So
does he have any kids of his own?
No.
So it's just, so he's basically taken in your kids.
Yeah. I mean, their dad walked out, and he, I mean, to him, they were 8, 10, and 13 when he met me. So they're a pretty fun age. If you're a dude who likes to hang out with like kids, you know, like they're really fun kids. Like my kids are little weirdos, but they're like just really smart, independent thinkers, open-minded, big-hearted kind of like people. I mean, I raised them, so.
I was going to say, where'd they learn that, Kelli?
Obviously not from the other half.
Now, so you said you sold some cannabis, and it sounded like that was sort of a survival strategy to sort of feed your family.
Yeah, I mean, I was doing gigs. I worked full-time as a manager for the dry cleaners in Montpelier at this time. But I only was buying like 2 ounces at a time. And then I would keep 2 slices for myself and I would sell the rest of it. And it wasn't even really for a profit. My jobs were like paying for food at that point in time, but it was like, I couldn't afford that. And I really benefited from it. So like I was born with epilepsy, but not the type of epilepsy that will result in like grand mal seizures. I always had what are now called absence seizures, but when I was growing up, it was just petamol epilepsy. And it really did impact my life. And I ended up with dual diagnosis, and I ended up on meds.
What are the effects of those seizures? What happens when you have a seizure?
Oh, for me, when I would have a seizure, I haven't had a seizure in like 13 or 14 years now.
Wow.
As a child, I remember them being like, they felt more severe, but when I think of how scary it was as an adult to come out of them, I don't actually know if there was any difference, but I would know it would happen because I have no memory.
So you don't remember any of it?
No. And like, it's like if you're driving a car and the motor just dies, the car doesn't just come to a halt. So when I would have a seizure, whatever I was doing kind of was like that car. I would continue doing it until, the natural flow of it just
Oh.
stopped.
Hmm.
So I would lose control, of my mind completely, no memory, and coming out of it disorientated. The last seizure I remember having, I had been in the middle of writing a paper, and I came out of it and I didn't know my name. I didn't know what words were. I had been in the middle of writing the word that, and I couldn't remember what that was, or what I was even looking at was. And that lasted for like 30 seconds. Like, I really freaked out.
And then what? You just snap out of it.
Um, no, there's like a fog has to lift, and then you kind of can piece things together and you realize that that's what had happened. I had a really bad seizure when I was like 14 or 15 that landed me in the hospital, where I ended up having trouble breathing as well, which wasn't typical. And then after that, my seizures died down a lot, and I spent I tried to pretend and live like, like nothing, like it was nothing. And it was just at the time that my last seizure happened, I also had still been on medication for ADHD. So I was on Adderall, and I wanted to come off of it because
Oh,
just
really?
like, yeah, I'd spent my childhood on Ritalin, and like, it just like caused me a lot of emotional issues. And like at the time, I didn't know what was wrong with me. Now I realize it was addiction. Like,
When did you start taking Ritalin?
I was like 8,
Wow.
7 or 8. It was
Wow.
little.
Does that kind of
Yeah.
blow your mind that we're giving Ritalin to kids that young?
2 seconds. Babe, could you please reach out to our oldest and find out what he likes? He's blowing my phone up. Thank you. Sorry. I
No,
should have
you're
just
good.
turned
You're
my phone
good,
off.
Kelly. Take your time, sweetheart.
Hold on. Let me just quickly text him to just be like, what's up, kid?
I don't have kids, so I don't have these problems. I do have a very small dog who's sitting at the couch staring at me, wondering why I'm talking to this.
I love your dog pictures, though. He takes the best pictures.
It's Tasha. That's all Tasha.
Oh, wow.
I have nothing to do with that. Yep.
I forget what we were talking about now.
We were talking about seizures.
Oh, yeah. So my thoughts on giving that to kids, it makes me pissed off because so what happened was I was coming off of Ritalin, and my now ex-brother-in-law had given me some weed, and he was like, this might help, because I was drug withdrawing. Like, I just did it on my own, because what ended up leading up to this was rules were changing because the drug had become more and more abused. So it had happened on more than one occasion. I had to drive to my doctor's that was in one town, and then go to a pharmacy that was 2 or 3 towns over, and they wouldn't give me my straight up prescription at the doctor's office. It had to come in a sealed envelope. And then I get all the way to the pharmacy, and they have sent me home with somebody else's prescription. And I would have a meltdown because, like any addict, you're fucking stopping me from having my fucking drugs. Like, and it was frustrating. And I realized I would get mean, and like, there was no doctor telling me, well, you have an addiction to this medication. Nobody was saying when I was 16 and having like depressive downs as that Ritalin wore off and slicing my skin. Nobody said to me, you have addiction issues. You have mental health issues.
Were you self-harming, Kelly?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, I remember. Yeah, you remember, I've been on Ritalin for like almost 10 years at that point.
So you quit when you were about 16, you said?
No, I stayed on it. I didn't get a choice, and it's like, I don't blame my parents. My parents were doing what they were guided to do by doctors and educational, advisors and stuff. So my parents were just doing what they felt was the best, and we were low income because I come from a dairy farm, and like, we didn't have the luxury of being able to have out of pocket insurance that, would cover like extra doctors or specialists. So my parents could only afford for me what was available through the state's like low income insurance. So, I mean, all of that is a really huge part of why I do what I do the way I do it today
So
now.
what would you say? You took Ritalin for maybe 10 years?
Yeah.
Boy. And you know, I also had an Adderall script for about 10 years, and getting off it was insanely hard. I
And then
was,
it was another 7 years of Adderall, but I did stop every time I was
oh shit.
pregnant. I did.
Wow.
I had my three kids really young. It was 19 when I was pregnant with the oldest, but I wasn't technically a teenage mom because he was born 6 days after my 20th birthday. But I had all three of my kids by the time I was 24, got my tubes tied, knew I was done being a baby making machine, and was really excited to have my adorable small humans. And, you know, their dad, it was a very abusive relationship. I was with him for more than a decade, and it was really awful. And those kids were kind of like the light of everything. So when everything fell apart, my relationship with my children is so tight. We were just like this little pack of wolves. You know, it was awful, but it really has kind of all the way around brought us to where we are today, helped build a lot of character in my kids. Like, they're survivalists, man. Like, if a zombie apocalypse actually happened, my whole team would be like king of the mountain. I'm just saying, like, I don't even know. Have you even met TJ? So
I
he's
don't
my
think I met
partner
any of
for
your
our
kids.
cultivator.
Oh,
No,
okay. No.
TJ is my partner, not one of my kids.
Okay. I don't think it was hard. You know, it's interesting, Kelly, at some of these events, for some reason, I can't remember a lot of people's names.
That's okay. I have the same issue, and people like to say, "Oh, she smokes a lot of weed," but yeah, there's other issues too.
Yeah. There's also a lot of people.
Yeah, it's too much.
Yeah. So
My brain can only take so much. I can't
tell me
handle a
about
lot.
TJ a little bit, if you
So
don't mind.
TJ is my cultivator partner. He's awesome. He also is my husband's best friend. They grew up together, and I just lucked out when I grabbed him because he was leaving the cannabis industry, just because he had done work in like every New England state except for Vermont. He's a very skilled cultivator. I mean, I don't want to brag about him too much because I don't want to actually seem egotistical or anything, or like we're better than anybody else. But I'm just going to say he has been the head of grows that have been featured in High Times. So he's pretty good at what he does. And I'm very excited to be able to show Vermont what him and I are going to be doing.
Cool.
So yeah, that's TJ. And I was just gonna say, he's the kind of guy that you could send out in the woods with like an axe and like a magnifying glass and like duct tape, and he's gonna build you like a mansion with like a
He's like
pool
a
and a
Northeast Kingdom.
koi pond.
He's like a MacGyver.
Dude, we go hand building
Yeah,
stuff. It's really fun.
that's
Um,
cool.
yeah, and then of course you've got my husband Chris, and Chris is he's helped more with the grow than I have because I've been busy with all the edibles in the kitchen and all that fun jazz. But basically, we named our property Alex Place, and the three of us kind of are just calling the shots over here and trying to get it prepped and running the show for what we're hoping will happen.
Tell me a little bit about that, because I came out for your 420 event and you talked a little bit about the significance of Alex Place in the name. Would you mind talking about that?
No, not at all. So we can go back to TJ and Chris. So they are from Massachusetts. They're really awesome guys. Not to get off topic, but I didn't really like massholes before getting with him. I really, really didn't like massholes before.
No comment. No comment.
So now there is a spot near and dear in my heart for all the grumpy little massholes everywhere, because he is part of this amazing group of friends. These guys all grew up together, and it's just crazy because it feels more like family than actual family sometimes. And TJ and Chris are both a part of that. So like when we're all together, we just feel like family. And then we go down and visit our friends a few hours away. It's just like one big happy family. Anyway, Alec was part of that family, and he was a pretty key part of it because he was really the most active at keeping all the friends together and getting the guys to do stuff. And unfortunately, he died from a fentanyl overdose. And we were told it was cocaine, not heroin, just to put it out there for people that think cocaine is so safe. It's not safe, my friends.
That sucks. Sorry to hear, Kelly.
It was really sad. I mean, we think about him. We can't not think about him. When it did happen, was actually I was having Chris's birthday party, and his friends were headed here from Massachusetts. They were on the road when we found out. And if Alec had been in like a better place mentally, maybe instead of turning to drugs for comfort, he would have been pumped about coming up to see us, you know? So it's like, even if we wanted to not think about it, there's so many reminders that happen every year. There's no way we could avoid it. So we, you know, and Alec was a really good man. He was a father. He was a good guy. He had a big heart. I didn't know him that well because Chris and I only got together in 2016, and, you know, Alec passed away in 2019. But he would text me and send me little messages that would just be like following me on Facebook or like Insta, and seeing the pictures of me and Chris and me and the kids and Chris, and just saying he just was really happy for us and he wanted to have that one day. And like, he also was bipolar, you know, pretty typical people having the multiple issues going on when it comes to the
Yeah,
mental health stuff. So
sure.
it just is really sad, because in general, what I learned in my husband's trying to get sober from alcoholism is Vermont lacks resources. It's disgusting. We got turned away, Caleb, from rehabs, literally being told that they needed to keep the few beds they had for mandates. And I'm assuming a mandate is like a judge's order. So
Wow.
that's messed up. They literally basically like told him like, you're not fucked up enough to be here, because he'd been sober for 6 days when he tried to turn himself into it.
You know, that's an interesting point someone else raised to me, was how many people are in rehab because they want to be, and how many people are in there because they were ordered to be by a judge who don't give a shit about maybe getting sober, you know?
Yeah, it's been a really rough road. And, you know, like, to really give him the support he needed to get clean, I had to be able to step back and see addiction for what it is. Like, it's hard. It's really hard when your partner is the addict and you're watching like your favorite adult become somebody you don't know. And the reason why you see that happening is because addiction is an entity all in its own force. You know, it is a disease. Like, we need to look at it medically as what it is. And I had to literally start seeing addiction, my husband. So like, when he was under control of his addiction, I had to respond as such. And that was kind of the key to walking that fine line of not enabling and actually supporting, because like, enabling and supporting sometimes look a lot alike.
Boy, that's a great point, Kelly.
Anyway, so Alex Place is what we named the 8-acre property I bought in Glover, because I bought a property for this. I just needed a kitchen. And then this place came with a big barn and a cute little yoga studio. So I have a grow house, and the kitchen, of course, is my edible manufacturing kitchen. And the barn, my property insurance is real expensive. Our business insurance and stuff is going to be real expensive. So I need to like offset the costs. So I'm going to turn the barn into a clubhouse for now. And by next year, I'm hoping to have it ready to do weddings, because
Oh,
I was
cool.
a DJ before, and we're hard drug and alcohol free. Because, you know, we have support groups. Oh crap. Hey Jimmy, would you be amazing, please, and plug me in? Because otherwise I'm
Plug her
gonna
in. Yeah, we don't
die.
want to lose this.
I can only go this far.
Yeah,
If
so
you
you
need
don't.
to, there's an extension cord plugged into that heating pad, and he's not even using the
So
heating pad.
So we're definitely going to do another chunky, but I want to ask you about that because it seemed like you were setting up some kind of substance abuse support group up there at your
Will
property.
it fit in the wall? Hold on, sorry.
No, that's
And
all
yeah,
right.
we have multiple support groups going right now. I mean, they're canceled right at this very second. It won't fit. Will it fit to the wall? I can pull the laptop. How much room do we need to fit into that socket in the wall?
I'll come up there. I'll bring an extension cord. We'll do it live. Fuck it.
I feel like it should fit.
That's what she said.
Okay. It's gonna die any second though. I just need it plugged in like right now. Sorry, not trying to be a bitch.
No, get after it.
Okay. It still says it's not plugged in though. Oh, there we go. There we go.
There we go. All right.
Okay. Sorry about that, man.
No, cool.
Now you get to see the dirtier part of my barber.
It's fine. That's why I got the background, Kelly, so you can't see what's behind me.
So yeah, so every Thursdays from 5 to 7, we're running a peer-to-peer support group. We have a couple of people that are recovery counselors, and they volunteer to be here for that chunk of time. But it's the whole point of that. My husband more or less leads it. Like I just kind of usually make stuff in the kitchen because they're out here doing their thing. But the point is for people who are actively trying to not use like hard drugs and alcohol, to make connections with other people who are trying not to use hard drugs and alcohol. Because like before we sold our house and bought the properties out here, we were trying everything. I was waking him up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I went on this whole tangent about how I was like, I'm so fat, I need to lose weight. Like I went on this whole kick with him to convince him he needed to get up with me and do physical activity before the sun. We're like with the sun. And I didn't really care. I make candies for a living. I'm never going to be skinny and I'm okay with that, but he bought it. And so he was being like supportive of me. And I was seeing a pattern where if he was exhausted by noon, he was not drinking as heavily. So when he was lacking the doctors and the support and like the help that he needed, we were starting with that part, like incorporating physical activity and like wellness into our life. And out here at Alex's place, there's like, it's so tough. I wish I could do exactly what I want to do here, but there's going to be laws that are going to tell me, no, you can't. So where I stand right now is we're not open to the public. It's a manufacturing facility and a small grow house, but the event barn is being prepped to be a clubhouse. And the clubhouse is a space where we can host community educational activities. I want to have like different cultural events where we get to see like music demonstrations and have like food, like tastings and stuff of authentic foods from different cultures. I want to see not-for-profits use our lawn for like tie-dye activities or car washes. Like I want to see our space be available for good causes in the community. And I want to be able to host, activities here to support that wellness. Thank you, Jimmy. Because it's important. Like right now, I don't have a lot of stuff. I have some jewelry making activities. I have yoga stuff, and I have a lot of yoga balls, and I bought yoga chairs too. Big on that though, like releasing the negativity. Like I'm trying to fill this place with tools that will benefit people who need a place to be for a few minutes where they're not going to have hard drugs or alcohol present. And if they're going to need a place to be for a few minutes, why not give them something enriching to do as well? So, and then of course, plaster the walls with resources of different places. Cause like there are other places that have different support groups and activities and retreats and stuff, it's just, I look at this as like, I want to be glue. I want to be a spot that can like connect you to the people and the resources that will help you on your journey. Because I saw like what my husband has gone through to get to where he's at now, which is, he has his little slip ups once in a while.
Don't we all, Kelly?
I was gonna say the road to recovery doesn't look like you just quit cold turkey.
Yeah, it's not a straight
so
line.
long. But like, okay, so in 2022, he's had 3 relapses with maybe 5 beers total. That is not shit for a man that used to down an 18 pack a night and could follow it with a bottle of Jack. So, like we just take it as they come and we don't really focus too much on the little slip ups. We just try to celebrate recovery like every single day. And every day is choices.
I'm glad you said that because I feel like that's where a lot of people sort of get lost in the recovery game. They say, I'm never drinking again. And this is actually the one thing I do like about AA. I'm not into the whole higher power thing. I don't buy into that. But the one thing is the one day at a time kind of mentality.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that people take from AA that they've kind of showered onto me that I agree with. The God thing, it's not my thing, but here is my thing. Everybody needs something to believe in. And if you aren't able to see past the walls that are around you yet to see something you might believe in, like yourself or Like for me, I believe in energies, but everybody needs something to believe in. So I'm not opposed to religions. They do feel kind of culty, but that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, we could do that one another time.
But no, I think people need something to believe in just as much as people need connections from people that get it, that are not going to be judgmental. Like I've helped so many people. Like I'm not trying to give myself like a bunch of credit or make it about me, but like just by being a halfway decent human being and making myself available for people without judgment, like I've been a support and a bridge helping people cross to sobriety. I've been at the 2 a.m. phone calls of I want to die right now. And, being able to talk to somebody and help them see a little bit of themselves that maybe I see. And it's just hard. People have a hard time seeing themselves. They want to. And a lot of people that are confused and conflicted, they just lack connections. And our missions, our goals are to help reduce, can I speak?
You're doing great.
To help reduce overdose deaths and suicides by having a spot that is safe, drug and alcohol free, minus cannabis. I am cannabis friendly. So like we have cannabis friendly support groups. People are like, what does that mean? That means like you could come here and go outside on the porch and take a puff or eat an edible if you need to of something you bring. And it can't be hard drugs or alcohol. I'm talking cannabis. If that's what you need to come in and meet these other peers and make connections and interact and participate, then I think that's not a big deal. And I think we need to try it because like the alternative seems to be throwing people on stuff like Suboxone and methadone. And then years down the road, I hear a lot from those people. I still feel like an addict. It's like, because you are. It's just more controlled under a doctor's supervision. And don't even get me started on how that works for the pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah, and I mean, that's another great point. Certainly. I know people that have taken methadone for fucking 12 years. It's like, you should be weaned off by now. I feel like, now it feels like the state is just getting you high.
I mean, if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck.
And I mean, look, I know there's some people who need that for sure. Like when you're coming off of heroin, for sure, like you need a safe way to medically detox. But 12 years.
See, and it's wrong. And it's hard for me to even like, honestly, it's hard for me to, I have trust issues. Obviously, I was full-blown abandoned. I'm going to have trust issues, but I have trust issues with the government. Stuff like cannabis, mushrooms, they grow naturally from the ground. They don't have to be processed in a crack lab, a meth lab, or anything like that. It's not like heroin. Like people try to compare it to heroin. They're like, oh, well, heroin comes from poppy seeds, that comes from flowers. And like, you sound stupid because you don't just dry the flowers out and smoke it and get heroin, you fucking dumbass. Like, I've never even seen heroin in my life. But I just know that it doesn't grow naturally from the fucking ground. Right. And I know with cannabis and with mushrooms, you pick them and you dry them and right. You can use them. And my personal belief is that the cure for opioid crisis is going to be when they finally take the like legal federal standing off of mushrooms, because I mean, I believe that it repairs damage that addiction causes. Yeah. Like addiction definitely causes brain damage.
Can confirm. And I got to tell
living with it in my husband,
I love the mushrooms, and I've never thought that weed and mushrooms count as drugs. I was like, those are plants.
Yeah.
Like what if we said a maple tree was drugs? Now look at that sap. Like,
I mean, I could get like sugar high off of maple syrup.
Right.
Like, I definitely will take shots of syrup.
I'm
100%.
I was born and raised there. Yeah, I'll have a shot of syrup once in a while. But how is that different? Like, we feed sugar to kids like it's nothing, and sugar is maybe more addictive than anything I've ever tried.
My one thing, I wish I had been as cautious now as a person as I was when I was raising small kids. Like I did pretty good for back then. Like I grew up on a farm. My kids for most of their childhood drank, I don't know if you'll think this is gross or not, but like unpasteurized, like right from the bulk tank milk.
I don't give a shit. You're not gonna scare me with some raw milk.
Listen, me and my kids are like some of the healthiest people I've met. I'm not like knock on wood, man, but there
Yeah,
is like
right.
no COVID. We've not had COVID one time since that shit started.
Good.
We're not vaccinated. I don't see the point in getting vaccinated for something that I'm going to have to keep putting vaccines into my body instead of giving my body the opportunity to do what it's supposed to do, which is build an immunity and naturally fight that shit. I did some stuff different though. Like I did start giving my kids, and we take it too, just extra vitamin D and vitamin C and stuff.
I've been popping a little vitamin D in there too, just in case.
But like I'm huge with THCA. It's non-psychoactive. It's protectant. It's really, really good thing. And like the edibles I make, the ones I call my epilepsy oil. It's like the ones I started making for me to be able to go do gigs and stuff and not like, because like, even though I don't have seizures and stuff, and I still deal with neurological issues. Like I still have issues that working gigs can be really challenging if I don't have apparently that, like whatever that is. But my oil that I use for my own personal self ends up testing 2/3 THCA and only 1/3 THC. So you feel it in your body, and I feel an instant relief right here, because my day-to-day life includes trying to avoid this pressure that I've forever had
You get
that just
migraines and
builds up,
stuff?
right? Yeah, I mean, no, because it's me and I make bomb ass medical products. But like, if I wasn't me making bomb ass medical products, yeah.
Okay, Kelly, listen, I got to chop this. I want to come back and maybe this has been fascinating. I want to come back and maybe dive into some of the business end of things and talk about
Yeah.
maybe some banking and things of that
Oh,
nature.
I almost forgot that happened. Those cunts. Sorry, am I
Okay.
allowed to say cunts on here?
You're allowed to say whatever you want,
Oh,
Kelly.
that's great. I love
It's a
it.
great note to end on. I'm going to cut it. We'll be right back with Kelli Story from Green Queen Candies. Oh, beautiful. All right. This usually takes about 5-6 minutes. I'm going to go smoke a joint. I'll be right back.
Okay, wait. So,
I'll have to send you another link.
okay. So
Yeah.
we're done for now. Like I can leave and I can go smoke and then I can come back.
Yeah, it's got to run under. When I close this, it automatically renders the video
Okay.
down. Takes
I
about
got off
6.
topic. You should just ask me
No,
questions and I should
you're
just fire you answers.
Kelly. No, I let it go. This is going great. I'll send you a new link. I'll see you in 5 or 6 minutes here.
Okay.
All right.